Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. My name is Jeremy Gloff, and tonight we have the Emmylou Harris panel here to continue through Emmylou Harris's discography. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen. Thanks to the Patreon and all the subscribers and everything. And tonight we are through the mid-1980s, an album that it's probably talked about a little bit less than some of the other ones. You know, you hear about Luxury Liner, you hear about Wrecking Ball a lot, even Red Dirt Girl. But tonight we're talking about the album 13, which is not one of her more well-known albums. It came out in 1986. It was the follow-up to Sally Rose, which we discussed last time. This is the mid-80s when things were really like the Hairspray and the commercial and, Reagan, the 80s. And so coming out with an album right in the middle of that must have been an interesting time. We have our 80s Emmylou with like the little puff and the kind of the mullet, the 80s Emmylou. And, so let's start where we always start. Richard, it's 1986. Did you buy this album right when it came out?
I did not. I skipped this.
This is the first one you skipped.
Yeah, I might not even have known it was out, to tell you the truth. Because I went through my original vinyls. It went from Sally Rose to Trio. And so I did buy this on the secondhand market.
Okay.
And I've listened to it a lot this week. So I did not. I don't think I knew. It could have been because I was sort of had a transition point in my life, and I was away from my stereo for a while. And so I was basically listening to my music on cassettes on a little boombox.
Sure.
I was getting divorced, basically.
I mean, think about what was out in 1986. You had like Madonna, True Blue, Cyndi Lauper, True Colors. Springsteen was probably still touring on Born in the USA, right? Around that time, or his live album?
Yeah, he was touring around that.
The most recent Joni Mitchell album had been Dog Eat Dog, for a little perspective.
Well, I bought Dog Eat Dog when it came out on LP, but I noticed that my copy of Angel Band. Well, I since bought a record, but my original copy on Angel Band that I'll bring when we did that is a cassette.
Awesome. All right, so Tadia, you got into Emmylou in the 90s, and then kind of just like me, explored her discography in your own order. What's your story with 13?
Yeah, 13, I didn't know about 13. 13 was not released in Europe. 13 was only released in America. That the way I discovered this was through her fan club. They sent out a paper where it said the albums and the name of the albums. And I remember reading 13. I was like, that's something, that's wrong. Then they released the At the Ryman VHS video. And at the end of when the credits are rolling at the end of the video, it comes a Bluebird 13 and Profile 2. And I was like, oh my God, it exists, that album.
Right.
And it took me almost 10 years to find it.
Wow.
Because it wasn't released here. So only and remember also in the 90s, vinyl was not popular anymore.
Right.
This album, since it wasn't released here, it was hard to find, and it is still today the most sought-after Emmylou Harris album of all her albums.
Well, I started rediscovering her discography in the early 2000s, and this is an album, of course, it was never issued on CD till maybe 10 years later as part of this little box set. That's the only place you can get it on CD, if you buy this box. But at the time, I got the tracks actually off Napster, and I burned a CD with one of those like stick-on labels that you put the printer on. Then I had like this pixelated like inkjet cover that I printed out and like cut out. So I made my own 13 in Evangeline. Yeah.
I did that too, actually. I don't remember which platform I got it from, but I did burn it from. I know there was a guy who made a cassette for me, a collector in Oslo, and I was in heaven when I heard that album. I don't. It might have been around Wrecking Ball or something like that, because I remember. Well, the first time I heard Wrecking Ball, I was a little bit disappointed, and when I got to hear 13, I was like, oh, she did country music. Yeah, I love this more than Wrecking Ball.
Oh wow. Do you still
But
feel that way? Do you still like 13 more than Wrecking Ball? No? Okay.
no, Wrecking Ball just grew on me, got better and
Right.
better the more I learned about that album. But
You know,
13,
they must not have promoted this album very much at all. They didn't release it on CD when it came out.
no. So what happened was that this album was recorded during the same time as the Ballad of Sally Rose. And this is the third album Emmylou produced. She produced this with her then husband, Paul Kennelly. And the whole point about this album was to getting back to mainstream radio, country radio, because at the time, she hadn't been played much at the radio, and we can say now that the Ballad of Sally Rose didn't do very well
Right.
compared to earlier albums. This one even got less radio played than.
Right.
And so what happened after a couple of months, they took the album off the shelves. So it was taken off, and they decided not to release it on CD either. Like Ballad of Sally Rose was released on CD. 13 was not. It was sort of like a forgotten album, and they had put so much hard work into this album and very expensive recording sessions, I would say, because there are some pretty big names on this album.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that she was disappointed. She did tour. She did a 13 tour. And she did play most of the songs during the sets. And if you read through the reports on the album and people talking about it, it's always positive. It's always positive. I think it might have been something to do with the album being not so popular, is because of the time it was released, because this was going back to traditional country music again.
Right.
In the 80s, there was something happening with country music. New artists like Garth Brooks, Dwight Yoakam, Katie Lang, Lyle Loveland,
Right.
Steve Earle. They were coming together, and there was a different sound, sort of like another gear awakening. And this was going back to, I think that she wanted to go back to mainstream country because she had done Ballad of Sally Rose, didn't work out that well, and she was like, okay, I'm really gonna put it back to where I used to be, and then even that didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
So I think Emmylou was disappointed, and she describes this album as, her forgotten album, which is kind of sad. And it's called 13 because this is her 13th album released. But if you count her first album before Warner Brothers, Gliding Bird, this would have been her 14th album. And the reason it was called 13 is, Gliding Bird didn't do well, and the record company went bankrupt.
Right.
There was this guy who bought the rights to the material, and he started to release all this kind of different versions of that album, different album covers, re-releasing it, and she had no control over that. Emmylou went to court, took the album to court, and she won that case because he had miscredited a song or something. And there had been tons of artists who had been trying this previous to her with their own material. They never won. He always won. But Emmylou, she won the case, and he had to drop the album, and she got back all the reels and everything, and she owns the masters now. And she celebrated it with calling this album 13 because she won, and that album was finally gone. There was a new start. So this was the new fresh start. Number 13, let's go, and
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13, 13 and 13 is a very strong number, in a lucky number in Mexico.
So just to put things in perspective, her last hit would have been "In My Dreams," right, from White Shoes.
Yes, that's correct.
You look at 1986. That was the year that Dolly Parton came out with Rainbow, right? I mean, which couldn't be any more different from this album because that's I feel like that's Dolly. Maybe that was 87. No, it must have been 86 because it's before Trio. That was Dolly like at her biggest hair and kind of most, you know.
I mean, what was going on with the hair in this 80s, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was something with that hair with Dolly on that album as well. And that album did not do well even. She
Right.
sang Save the Last Dance for Me on that album.
And Dump the Dude.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you know, Emmylou kept it pretty traditional, and I wouldn't say that was a risky album, but even on this album, there's a couple things that sound different than anything she had done before. So
It is. But I think the interesting thing here on this album is that she went back and she did traditional songs, Porter and Dolly songs. She did an
Right.
Elvis number. She did a Bruce Springsteen number. This was the first time that Vince Gill and Rodney Crowell worked together.
right,
She brought in Rodney again. She hadn't been working with him since 1978, and because he left the Hot Band, and so she brought him back again, worked with him here.
He wrote a song with her husband for the album.
Right, and this is basically the whole. This is the Hot Band. This version of Hot Band. Everybody in the Hot Band plays on this album, and you have Mark O'Connor here, Carl Jackson, Dwayne Eddy. I mean, come on, there are big names here,
right.
and I personally think that this album should have been more recognized. It should have been re-released, remastered, and done something about it because it's really not a bad album. It's sort of like came out at the wrong time and it didn't get the attention. And it has also, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Luxury Liner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the cover with the hat?
The cover, yeah. And the opening with Mystery Train, it reminds me of Luxury Liner. It just explodes from the beginning.
And kind of the same typeface too as Luxury Liner, that blue with the. It's interesting because I feel like this is kind of the end of an era. It's the kind of the last time she used a template quite like this on them because then we have Trio, then Angel Band, and then the three albums after that are totally kind of a different sound. With Bluebird, the Brand New Dance, and Cowgirl's Prayer, and then the Ryman, of course. But I feel like this is definitely the end of the last time that she really had an album like this.
She would do one more album that she produced herself. That would be Angel Band, and after that she stopped producing albums.
Right.
So no, and the hat. A friend of mine had this hat. He used to run Emmy's fan club. He took it over after it, kind of like she had to take over it because it didn't go too well. But he passed away. A good friend of mine called Reggie. He had this hat and is now in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
The 13 hat.
It covers her 80s hair.
Yeah.
And Riquet, her stylist, God bless him, he's a friend as well. He styled her for this album, and he said, he was a hairdresser, and he put on hair and makeup and all that stuff.
And then she put
she put a hat on. He said.
You don't think of Emmylou wearing hat? Like I can't think of many times that she even had a cowboy hat on. You know what I mean? Emmylou's not really a hat wearer, especially on her album covers. So I feel like this one's unique.
It kind of like shows that she's a cowgirl,
Yep.
But I do like the album, and for me, this album has a special place in my heart because it took me so long to find it.
Right.
And because I had such a personal experience with it when I first heard it. So for me, it is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I know that a lot of people don't agree with me on that, but for me, it is personally. I went to, let's see now, in Nashville, I went to one of Emmy's band members' weddings. He married one of the sweethearts of the rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I met Paul Kennelly. He was there as well. A lot of friends there. Emmylou was there, and Nash Ramblers, and so we were there. And I went up to him, and we talked about the Jesse James tracks and White Mansion, and then I said to him, and I said, "What happened to 13?" And he said, "What 13?" I said, "The album 13." And he said, "Oh no, I'm not sure if we should have released it," he said.
Huh.
And I said, "That's my favorite album." And he said, "Oh, it is. That's the first time I've heard."
Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I do feel like there's moments that are more inspired than others on this album.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's go into the track by track. The album opens up with an Elvis song, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mystery Train. It's kind of that, you know, the template that was used on some of the earlier Emmylou albums that opened with like that up tempo, like Elite Hotel, Luxury Liner, Blue Kentucky Girl. Uh, it's interesting though because you have this kind of music with kind of her 1986 voice, which sounded great on this album. But what do you guys think of this song?
Well, it's Emmylou's favorite Elvis song.
Okay,
Well, it's probably my favorite Elvis song. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's
Takes
a
a lot of nerve to cover it.
yeah, and the beat in it is fast, and I think that we talked about comparing it a little bit to Luxury Liner. You can hear that Frank Record, her guitar player at the time, he kicks it here. He's really really burning some strings when he plays the solos here. It's a fun number, and I love Mystery Train. I remember she used to open the shows with the Nash Rumblers with Mystery Train.
nice.
She
Yeah,
should open the show with Mystery Train and a medley with Luxury Liner. They would flow right together.
good idea. I'll tell her that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
great song, great song, great opening number.
Hmm.
All right, so then much like those 70s albums, we kind of go into a ballad next. So this really is like that classic Emmylou. You're Free to Go. What did you guys think of this one?
I love this song. I
I
just
love
love this song.
it. Good song, and this is an old country classic. Have you heard the original?
Mhm.
And when you hear the original, this is a kind of like we hear the original, and then you understand that how good Emmy is because she takes it to a different level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Um,
she does. I really love her performance of this song.
I'm maybe one of the few that when I discover a song that she's done by other artists, I tend to go back and find the original song and give it a go and listen to it. And
Right.
then every time I go like, "Damn, she's good."
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. This is a country song,
Yes.
a country waltz. Um, great song. You're free to go. Yeah, classical country. It would fit country radio as the plan was. Didn't get any airplay.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what country radio was like in the middle of the 80s because sometimes I listen to country radio. Not anymore. I can't. Oh, I can only listen to Sirius XM now. But you know, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's kind of in between times for country radio.
Right.
Kind of the classic artists are being kicked to the curb. Like it's hard for Merle Haggard to get played on the radio, and once the '80s start drawing to a close. So I mean, I think in terms of what was going on in radio, there's a lot of consolidation of radio stations during this time too. All that Channel One stuff is starting to happen. So maybe radio wouldn't have been as receptive to classic sounding country in the mid '80s as it had been
Right.
earlier and would be later in the '90s when you really start getting the neo traditionalists. Well, I guess so. I mean, Rodney's 5 country hits came in '88, so I don't know. But I'm surprised that did they actually release a single from 13?
Yeah, they did. Today I started loving you again, and
Uh,
let's see now what's the other. I had my heart set on you.
hmm.
Yeah, they
All
did.
right.
Pink. There was pink letters on those singles.
Because the album hit number 9 on the country charts.
It did.
Yeah.
It just didn't stick around.
Still didn't.
Country charts must be, I mean, because it crossed over to something like 157 on the main Billboard chart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, any other thoughts on You're Free to Go?
No.
All right, so next we have an Emmylou original. Her and Paul wrote this song, right? Now, I read somewhere that there was a theory that the originals on this album were left over from the Sally Rose sessions. Do you guys think that's true, or do you think these tracks were unique to this album?
The Sweetheart of the Pine song?
Yeah.
Sweetheart of the Pine, they say that it's a left out from Ballad of Sally Rose. You know,
Yeah.
she re-recorded a song called Sweetheart of the Rodeo on that
Right.
album. So I mean, there's a lot of sweethearts for song titles, I would guess. But
Yeah.
I like that song. You know, it reminds me of a Violin Jennings song.
I think Sweetheart of the Pines is my favorite song on this album. I almost wish that this would have been a single. I feel like this might have done a little bit better in the time than something more traditional. I feel like it was a little more forward thinking. I often pull out this album just to hear this song. I love the harmonies on the chorus. I love the way it builds. I mean, I just think it's kind of the bridge between classic Emmylou Harris and then where she'd go later on. Just a classic song that I just feel is. It's a shame it wasn't a single, and I feel like it's kind of lost on this album. But she never does this live, does she?
No, but she did do it on the 13 tour, and she did put it in her set list a little bit in the 90s with the Nash Ramblers.
Right. What do you guys think of this song?
I love it.
I like the songs. Really good song.
Yeah, one of my favorite on the album as well. Yep.
I feel like in the chorus, Emmylou does her own harmonies, doesn't she? But I'd love to hear the trio singing on this one.
Oh man,
can you imagine that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so then we go back to which was a single from the album, Just Someone I Used to Know, another traditional country.
Porter and Dolly did this.
Right.
And actually, George Jones did it before them as Just a Girl I Used to Know.
Oh.
Yeah, and I like it. But she sings this with John Anderson.
I didn't love his voice, to be honest with you.
Oh, I love John Anderson.
Really?
Yeah, he writes some of the best kind of honky tonk songs. His voice is. I mean, I love his voice.
Well, they recorded this duet for this album, and then they went together and they recorded one different duet for his album.
Okay.
Yeah.
A song called "The Walls You Saved for Me."
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, and it's a great song. They might have recorded it at the same time. I don't know. I haven't looked who produced that song, but yeah.
The song I love that he does is "Wild and Blue." Have you ever heard that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucinda does a great version of that.
Yep.
But yeah, I like John Anderson.
Yeah, he's kind of a little bit underrated, I think. You listen to his material; he has a lot of good songs. I'm not sure many of them hit here in Europe, though, especially not in Norway. But I have looked him up because of Emmylou. But I'm glad that she put in a duet on the album.
Oh yeah,
she's always good at duets and harmonizing. It's always fun to hear Emmylou harmonizing. It's so natural to her.
I just feel like anyone that likes Blue Kentucky Girl or Luxury Liner would love this album. I just can't see why it's not known more.
I think that it would have been known more if it was promoted. Maybe it was released at the wrong time. I don't know.
One of those reviews that you sent us, one of the guys said, "Oh, this is her best album since Blue Kentucky Girl."
Right.
Yeah. It should have been re-released, this album, with outtakes or extras or live versions, something. It should have been like given a second chance, like the Sally Rose album was.
Now, I know a lot of the masters were lost for some of her albums. Do you know if this CD reissue was from the original masters, or are we not sure?
I'm not sure, because to be honest with you, when I have listened to the CD version, it has an okay sound, but when you listen to the remaster of the Ballad of Sally Rose, it's a totally different level.
Sure. Yep.
So I guess that they didn't use those masters for the CD release. Right. It should have been re-released.
And of course, you can get this on streaming, so it is out there for people to hear.
It is. Yeah.
It's just hard to find a physical copy.
True.
All right. Well, side one of the album ends with a Bruce Springsteen song, and she's done a couple Springsteen songs on previous albums, but I really feel My Father's House is a song from Nebraska, right?
That's right.
What a version here. I mean, her other Springsteen songs she did, I liked her versions, but I'm not a huge Springsteen fan, but this one, I really feel like she picked the right song with this one. What a haunting version of this track. What do you guys think? Richard, you're a pretty big Springsteen fan,
I'm
aren't
a
you?
huge Springsteen fan. I love Nebraska. I love this version of My Father's House. That's probably my favorite track on this album.
Yeah.
Um, and Emmylou loves Nebraska. She
Yeah.
was on that. They did that. It was on public TV here. They had a special on Nebraska with a bunch of
Yes.
different people, including Emmylou on there. And I think she actually didn't she and Aoife O'Donovan do a Nebraska show at one point. I think they did.
She sang The Price I Pay, and she sang the song Nebraska, I think.
Yeah, she sang Nebraska and on too. There's a video of her singing the song Nebraska.
It was released. It was released on CD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hard to get though. But this song, My Father's House, I don't know what to make out of the words are pretty poetic, isn't it? It kind of like it's hard for me to understand what she's really singing about. I've been trying to figure it out. I think I know what it is, but it was recorded as a demo. They were doing it in one take, and then they overdubbed it later. So this is the first and only time she did it for the album.
Wow.
Yeah. They put some synthesizers on it, but it's very tasteful synthesizer. I love this song. It's about, you going, he goes to his father's house and there's a stranger there. It's like,
Yeah.
it's about fathers and sons basically. And, it's heartbreaking in a way. I love the song, and it was personal for Springsteen when he wrote it too.
Right.
It reminds me of like
with his father was.
it reminds me of a Bible story.
Yeah, well, that's My Father's House has many mansions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and also there's a story in the Old Testament where this girl go out to pick some fruits, figs or something, or dates or
Right.
whatever it is, and she comes back home. And when she comes back home, there's other people living there. She knocks on the door, and the people that's been
Right.
living there have been gone for years. Her parents are gone for years, and she doesn't know understand why. So it kind of like remind me of that story.
Yeah.
But with Springsteen, he's very clever with lyrics, and he gets better with age as well, I have to say. But this song, she mentioned this when she re-released this song on the Songbird compilation albums. She said that even though she had albums, she said something like, even though she had album that was kind of like a foster child to her, that was sort of like forgotten, even this album has some of her best material she ever recorded in her whole career.
Right.
And then she mentions My Father's House. So it's a favorite of hers. So songs on this album is favorites of hers.
I mean, don't you feel like this song really points forward to stuff that, some of the tones and moods on Wrecking Ball and stuff? I feel like this is some of the first times you start to hear what is coming in some ways.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I mean, it's so haunting.
It could have been Wrecking Ball, actually.
Yeah.
I can hear Daniel Lanois' guitar in the background there.
Yeah. Well, Springsteen apparently would go by his old house in Freehold, New Jersey, when his parents had moved to California, and so that was a partial, at least biographically partial, inspiration for the song.
Right.
Yeah, but in the context of Nebraska too, I'm such a Springsteen fan that I sprang for that expanded edition of Nebraska that's coming out next month.
Right.
Now, so
I'm intrigued to hear Born in the USA demo from the Nebraska sessions. I saw that's on the track list. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Is it more acoustic than the?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of acoustic versions of Born in the USA that were on like tracks, the first tracks that came out in, I don't know, the 90s. But yeah, that song was always kind of a acoustic for quite a while. But anyway.
And Emmylou would record Springsteen a few more times in her career, right? Was Tougher Than the Rest Springsteen?
Yeah, Tougher Than the Rest is Springsteen.
I love that. I love her version of that.
Mansion on the Hill she recorded
Mansion on a Hill. When'd she record that on?
at the Ryman.
Oh, at the Ryman. Right. Yeah, I like that song too.
She loves Bruce Springsteen. The Price I Pay she recorded, yeah, and she did also on the Springsteen Music Care show. She sang My Hometown.
Oh, I wish I'd see that. I'd like to see that.
It is on the Emmylou
On
Harris
YouTube.
the page.
Yeah.
Facebook
Oh, okay.
up there. I'll send it to you.
Okay, I can probably find it, but
Yeah.
do.
And
Yeah.
I'll make a bold statement on this podcast. You know, I feel like Poncho and Lefty was her best recording, her best town song. I feel like this is her best Springsteen cover in her whole discography.
Amen to that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yep.
All right. So you flip over the album, La Cassine Special. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
You got the live version as a bonus track on like Elite Hotel or something crazy. But this is like a Cajun song. It's in French.
Yeah.
It is a Cajun song. It's a Cajun song, yeah.
But you know, with some country, the first time I heard this, I fell in love with it. It's not like anything she really ever did before or since. What a great way to start side 2 of the album after that haunting Springsteen song. I mean, this is not Emmylou treading water here. This is, you know, she's still kind of being. This album is so interesting because it's halfway looking forward, halfway looking backward, and I love this song. What do you guys think of this? I mean, how many times does she sing in a different language in her career? It's not common.
Well, she loves French. She always loves French, and she said that she would love to know how to speak French, and she would sing harmonies on the McGarrigle albums in French, and she did a Edith Piaf tribute of No Regrets, No Rien, and she loves French, and I think it's cool. She loves Cajun as well, you know, New Orleans sound, and I think it's cool that, and I also personally know that Emmylou Harris is a big fan of the accordion.
Right?
Yeah.
And here it goes up with the accordion here, you know, and it's
Yeah, well,
cool.
that was what was so cool about seeing her. You know, on the 12th was Phil Madeira didn't have a keyboard there, so he basically played either accordion or guitar the whole night.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
And this song, when you hear the live version that was released on the Quarter Moon album, which is from this tour, it's a lot of fun. You can hear that they're having a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Did she ever do it after this tour, though?
I have not heard her do that song after, no.
Come on, Emmylou, bring these 13 songs back. I mean, Emmylou's so great at like mining other people's material, but I'd kind of like her to rediscover her own album with this one, kind of like she has other people's songs, because these songs are great freaking songs, man, and these are great versions of great songs.
They are. This song, like a scene special, it reminds me of the KSOS song on the Ballad of Sally Rose.
Okay. Yeah.
Has the same beat to it. It's a fun song. I have not translated what the lyrics is about.
Yeah, I have no idea. I kind of don't want to know. That's one of the mysteries of the universe.
We'll be shocked when we find out.
Well, if you get Apple Music, you can view the credits and read the lyrics there. So maybe I have terrible French. So
You'll put in a translation in our group chat.
no, I don't have good enough French to do that, and I don't have Cajun French either, which is a whole other ball game.
Well, maybe I'll copy and paste the lyrics into Google Translate, and it'll do it for
I'm
us.
on it.
Oh, okay. All right. So after this song, we go back to some more traditional country. Is it today? Today I started loving you again, right?
Yep, Merle Haggard and Bonnie Owens.
Yep. What do you guys think of her take on this one?
It's okay.
Well, today I started loving you again.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little boring.
Yeah, but it is. Emmylou has always been a huge Merle Haggard fan,
Right.
and I think that this is her second Haggard song she did. She did "Tonight the Bottles Let Me Down"
Right.
on Pieces of the Sky, and she said Vince Gill said to me that she introduced her to Merle. She introduced him to Merle Haggard and his music.
Oh,
and
yeah?
it's like he's been inspired for the rest of his life by Merle because of Emmylou. And but I don't yet. What you said, there was this song Merle Haggard wrote to Bonnie Owens.
With Bonnie Owens. They
That
wrote it
they
together.
had separated, and one day he figured
Yeah.
out that he loves her, and he sang that song to her, and then they were together again,
Aw.
and then separated again. But I like this song. It's not the song that I go to the most. And back to you, Jeremy, when you ask about remastering. Actually, I've been thinking about that earlier because she did release. The Warner Brothers released a 2 CD set back in the day with the songs from a career.
Okay.
Double CD, and it had 2 songs on that CD set from 13, and they have a quality of the sound that's totally different from the digital version we have.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they are definitely remastered.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the songs on that album.
She did
Retrospective. It's called.
Retrospective. Yep.
on All I
Remember that.
Intended to Do, she did Kern River, which is a Merle Haggard song. And
Oh,
when she did it at the show, she said it was her favorite. That was her favorite Merle Haggard song, Kern River.
she did Mama's Hungry Eyes, and she has done a few
Yeah.
Merle songs.
Yeah. Well, I love Merle Haggard.
Oh man, Merle, is one of the best country singers ever.
I finally got to see him once. He opened for Bob Dylan in Savannah.
Oh,
And well, they were really kind of co-headliners, really. And he was on. He was so great, and it was one of Dylan's worst. It was probably the worst Dylan concert I've ever seen. I've seen a lot.
So I think that my favorite Merle Haggard song is the Farmer's Daughter, and I think that I always wished Emily would record Silver Wings.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a great song.
oh man,
That's
such
a great song. I think Roseanne did that on the list, didn't she?
she did it with Rufus Wainwright.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
That-
yeah,
that's a cool combination. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
but I like this song. This is also again, I think that what she did with this song here, putting a Merle song, was her aiming for mainstream country radio. You
right.
know,
Yep.
and she's a Merle fan. Let's do a traditional
Let's do a
country
moral
song.
song.
Yeah,
She did California Cotton Fields too with Graham, and then
I forgot about that.
it was one of the outtakes on, was it Pieces of the Sky or Elite Hotel?
The Angel Band.
Yeah. Yeah, she did it with the Angel Band. I love California Cotton Fields.
Yep.
All
All right.
right.
So next we have this is another original, right? When I Was Yours. Do you
Yes.
feel like
Yeah.
was this one
Yeah.
another outtake from Sally Rose, do you think?
No, this
No.
song she wrote for her grandmother Caroline.
Okay.
This song was written for this album, and this song is really good.
Yeah.
Love the song.
Yeah, it's really good. Good lyrics, beautiful melody, harmonies are great, and the band are good as well. I mean, When I Was Yours, she did perform that song a few times later. She has performed that even on TV.
Right. You sent us a video, right?
Yeah, and she did
Audio.
something called Americana Music Shop or something. That used to be on TV where there was Dwight Yoakam performing there, and I think that she did this song with Carl Jackson and John Starling.
Oh, wow.
That show, 92, 93, something like that.
Her voice just sounds great on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I like that this is, from this album, from 13, it would take a while before she started to write songs on her next albums again.
Right.
She would write one song for Bluebird, but I mean, like, she has a couple of songs that she wrote on this album, which is cool as well.
Imagine if she held this for trio and heard like Linda and Dolly singing on the harmonies. That would have been awesome, I feel like.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a really good song, and I like it.
It's a weird thing about this album, because I think that trio overshadowed a lot of her albums.
For years, both ways.
Exactly, but I feel like almost why didn't Trio promote this album as well? Why didn't it make people go back and look what was right before Trio and buy this as well? Damn the fans, why didn't they?
Yeah.
They should have bought it.
All right, so then we go. I had my heart set on you. This is kind of a rollicking mid-tempo. I like the feel of this one though. I like
Dwayne
the
Eddy
guitar
opens
parts.
it.
This is the one that Paul Kennerly wrote with Rodney, right?
Yeah, Rodney plays on it, and Dwayne Eddy opens it. Dwayne Eddy was do you know who that is?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know Jeremy?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he passed away, I think, last year or something.
Oh,
I think it was last year. Yeah.
Well, he was a good friend of Phil Kaufman, Emmy's manager, you know, the
Uh-huh.
manager.
The Mangler.
Yeah, and his sound here, it sounds exactly, the guitar sounds like it sounded in the 60s or 50s, well, whenever he had his big hits. Uh,
Mhm.
but I love this song.
I do too.
Yeah, this song flows. Really, really good song.
So then we only have one song left, and I'm sad we're almost done with 13 already because I've been looking forward to getting to this period of Emmylou right from the beginning.
Yeah,
So the album closes with Your Long Journey, and
It's Doc Watson's wife mostly wrote it. Rosa.
that's
Rosa.
correct. Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
And it's often, and I think the better title for it is Your Lone Journey, Lone.
okay.
It appears in both ways. But your lone journey is like you die alone, right? I mean, that's what the song's about the journey to the other world.
It's interesting. I feel like this is another moment that kind of points forward to some sounds that Emmylou would have even on Bluebird. There's almost kind of a Celtic feel here, don't you feel like?
yeah. It's a
Irish.
very traditional, old timey song. The
I
feel,
love this song, though. I mean, this
and
song.
isn't it with an auto harp?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I was happy when she did in the mid of 2000, 2006, 2005 or something like that. She toured with Gillian Welsh, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah. And they put this song in the set.
Wow, what a surprise.
Did they
Yeah, they
do it
sang it.
together?
Yeah, they sang it as a three-part harmony.
Oh
And I
wow,
was so
with David,
surprised by it.
Gillian, and
Yeah.
Emmylou.
Yeah, I was so surprised by that. Man, she's bringing back a 13 song and she does it with them who plays that sound, you know?
Yeah.
And they played that song tons of time. I think I have a recording of it. I actually think it was recorded for the Grand Ole Opry DVD as well.
So did the other versions have those same overtones, or was that unique to Emmylou's production of the song?
Um, yeah, I think they do. Who I'm trying to think of who there was a Doc Watson retrospective that came out on CD, and then there was a thing of other people paying tribute to Doc Watson. This was on it. His version is, yeah, I mean, it's a very somber song.
Yeah.
It's I think this is pretty true to the spirit of the way the song is traditionally done. Um, although there's some synthesizer on it again.
Right.
Yeah.
But the synthesizer doesn't bother me on this album. I feel like it's not
No,
overbearing. It's
yeah,
certainly not dog eat dog.
yes, the synthesizer is very tastefully employed on this record, and
I
the
think
musicianship is stellar on this record.
so the sound of the album, it doesn't sound like an album that is from
Oh,
the 80s.
can't hear you. Oh,
Well, do you hear me now?
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
My cat turned the volume up.
Oh, Tanya was saying that it doesn't sound like an album from the 80s in the production. And I would agree.
Yeah.
It sounds like, the same sounds as her rest of her electric albums, you know?
I mean, when you think of like the synthesizer flourishes on like Evangeline, those are kind of dated a little bit. But I didn't feel like that was the case with these ones.
I agree
Right.
with that. Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, if you compare the sounds, the synth sounds on Evangeline versus this record,
Hmm.
there's no comparison. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not, and it's a good, I kind of like, if this came out right before Bluebird, if we hadn't had Trio and we didn't have Angel Band, it would make sense to go from this straight to Bluebird.
Right, because I hear hints of Bluebird, just little hints of it. And, I hate to give this away, but Bluebird's one of my favorite Emmylou albums. I love that album.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the day that we're going to talk about
In
that.
fact, I'm looking forward to that because I put Bluebird, Brand New Dance, and Cowgirl's Prayer as kind of like a trilogy. I know Ryman's in between those, but I feel like those three albums are like the next phase of Emmylou, and it's what I love. I love that era before Wrecking Ball. I think she was doing really great songs and cool. I like the production of them. So,
And her voice was getting back in shape.
yeah.
I mean, Bluebird is a masterpiece. But
Her voice sounds great on this record, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hear any. I don't hear the sort of damage that I heard on White Shoes on this record.
No, but the thing that I notice on this is that she has a slower vibrato in her voice than she
Right.
used to have.
I noticed it especially on Mystery Train.
Yeah.
That's where I noticed it the most.
Mystery Train should have been a hit. She did a show in that was filmed on BBC at the Wembley Stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually released on an LP as well, that show. Not by her, but by the radio station. And she opened up with Mystery Train. Yeah. It's a rare LP. You cannot almost find it anywhere today, but I remember that. But I think that this album is, like she said, is like a forgotten album. And I urge fans that has not listened to all her, or people that likes Emmylou Harris that has not listened to all her material, to don't skip this album. Listen to it. If you like the earliest albums in the 70s, you will kind of like recognize this album as well.
Right. And if you're a fan of her later work, you can start to hear some of the first hints of what would be to come as well. So this album's a lot more important than it gets credit for, I think. So here comes that moment where we're going to rate the album. Richard, 13 on a scale of 1 to 13.
Oh, God. Don't make me...
No, I'm just kidding. 1
Don't
to 10.
change the scale. 8.
Yeah, okay. Tadia?
I'll give it 13.
Oh, you can give it a 13?
For me, but it's not fair to ask this because it's my favorite album. But I don't know. I mean, I would have given it a 10, but to be fair, I think that it's in between 8 and 9, maybe when it comes to. She has such a big catalog and she has done so much good albums. It's hard to rate Emmylou.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to give a 10 to Luxury Liner and probably to Elite Hotel and and Wrecking Ball, I'd probably give that a 10.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm going to go just down a little bit down.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to go with an 8 too, I think, only because of what came before it and what's coming after are some of the best albums in the history of music. So not every album is going to be a 10, but if this was Emmylou's only album, it would have been a 10.
Yeah.
Meeting with this, her before and after. So, well, I do hope this podcast gives people an opportunity to revisit this album. Go listen to it on streaming. If you see it in the used record store, go ahead and buy a copy. And for us as a podcast panel, things are about to change. We have one more episode in this season before I take a break. But, this kind of is another end of a chapter that kind of started with Pieces in the Sky. Because, with Trio, that's a whole nother ball game that we're going to be getting into next month. So, well, gentlemen, I thank you so much. Any parting thoughts on 13 before we wrap it up for the day?
I was happy to have spent the week revisiting this. I listened to it repeatedly, and I was not bored.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there are not many. Emmylou, she has not made many bad albums. I have to say, she is picky with her songs, and the productions are always good. And she's a perfectionist. I mean, and she doesn't overdo her albums. That they're not too done or anything. It's always very good. I think that she's one of the few artists that have always been very excited about listening to an album when it gets released because I know be good. You know, even though if you don't like it the first time you hear it, it's going to get better the more you hear it. You know,
Yeah.
even if I said that girl and Wrecking Ball, when the first time I heard it, it was like, what is this? You know,
Right.
this doesn't sound like Pieces of the Sky. You know,
Right.
but then the more you listen to it, the more
You're like, holy shit.
and now it's like there's nothing better. You know,
I wish
Same
it would have. I wish it would have been on theme and all worn the 13 hats, but oh well. All right, my friends. Well, I'm going to get this posted this afternoon, and I will see you next month. With
All right.
Dolly and Linda will be joining us musically as we discuss Trio. All right.
Okay.
See y'all
Okay,
soon.
guys. Okay,
Go on.